and then we'll get the show on the road.
Cool.
All is yours. All looking good.
Yeah, I think good my end.
My stream has not gone live. Oh, there it is. Never mind.
Let us know in chat if we're all looking and sounding all right, and from all of our ends, and then we'll get the show started.
Indeed.
Let's do this. Hello.
Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful to see all of your lovely faces. Hopefully you can hear all of us just fine. Yeah, everyone on my end is saying things look fine. Everyone's audio is coming through nice.
Everyone looks beautiful apparently, which is good to hear. Hello all.
Indeed. All right. How things looking on your end, Andrew?
Yeah, looks like excellent connection. Let me see. Let me just open and pop out chat to double check.
Yes, this is the real More Console, and yes, that is the real Bife, believe it or not. And yeah, that is the real unknown player, so it's all good.
All of our nerdy glory together at last.
The UK crew.
On a live stream. The OG UK crew, no less.
That's true, man. The OG Peasant Gold, the UK crew in the house. We're going to be talking about Lightfall in Season 18, basically. And we're going to, a bit of an after-party banter.
OG or just old?
In my case, old. You
What's
guys
the difference?
are little babies compared to me. Should we give away my age or should we never talk of that?
Oh,
no, I don't think
Let's
that.
not.
They don't need to know that you're 24 eternally. Fine, don't worry about it.
Thank you, Bife. I appreciate that.
And the rest. You're missing a few digits there, Bife.
24,000. Okay, fine. We can let the cat out of the bag. He is indeed immortal. You know.
All right, I think we're all looking good and sounding good.
Let's
right,
do
ladies
this.
and gents, we are gathered here today to react to Lightfall. We finally have a boatload of information, and we're going to try and get through everything. We have absorbed all of it, so you guys don't have to. And yeah, we're basically going to break down everything, chat everything, discuss all of our thoughts, reactions on everything we saw in the showcase. A lot of information. Hopefully we'll get through everything today. But yeah, we have, where should we begin? Neptune?
I think that's absolutely the place to begin, because that totally came out of left field, right?
Yeah, that was like I think a lot of this came out of completely I don't think there's really anyone who predicted a lot of stuff like the new element, but Neptune is just like this planet that's just we've never even been to ever in Destiny, and Bungie have kind of plucked it out of nowhere and said, hey, there's this whole new location which is brand new and untouched, and so we're going to get there. And then Calus has basically taken his shadow cabal and is invading it, and we're kind of like the good guys, I believe.
Shadow Legion,
as usual.
Which is really exciting too, because like there were all these hints in the story being like, yeah, Calus is totally like clawing away all of the defectors from Keitel, and like there is this big split in the cabal, and absolutely you're going to see that. You know, there's going to be the Darkness Cabal and then the quote-unquote Light Cabal. So Calus vs. Keitel, another rematch yet again. This time we might actually kill him. Who knows?
I got to say, I was absolutely loving the Blade Runner aesthetic, like the Neon City. You can tell totally as well with like the logo. They've gone pure like Blade Runner aesthetic. So that's kind of quite exciting, that kind of like techno neon vibe. So that got me hyped. I like the verticality of the city as well. Like it looks quite high, doesn't it? And I think that's going to play into the whole Strand subclass where you can just like grapple and hook. So that's cool.
Can we talk about that for a second? Can we talk about how every game adds a grappling hook and it just elevates it? Like there's no reason not to add a grappling hook. It's fucking fun. It's fantastic. Excuse my French.
It is a thing. Like the grappling hook is, it looks like it's kind of mainly tied to Neptune, but I wonder how will that work on like other locations, because it looks like there's a bunch of stuff on Neptune set up for the element, like they're kind of tied in, like there's grappling hooks and there's like locations you can interact with, but I wonder how the grappling hook will be on all the other locations.
Yeah, can you it's not just purely for Neptune, is it? You can use Strand in all locations, right?
Yeah,
that's not just a Neptune thing, because that would kind of be cheating, wasn't it? You can only use it in this certain destination.
Oh yeah,
that's cool.
So my guess is kind of split between two, because lore-wise they said, this is the like all the stuff of the technical details they jumped into in the stream. basically cuts into this dimension of psychic energy, which is everywhere. It's omnipresent. So technically, they say you can grapple to any point, even if it's in the sky
I
and there's
love that.
nothing,
I
because
love
you're
that.
linking to
Yeah.
whatever, and that's a great way of saying just have fun with it.
Yeah.
But by that same token, it's like, does that mean we can do it on other planets? I don't know. I feel like the answer is no, because previous locations were not designed for this, and
Yeah, I
there
was-
are 10,000 ways to get out of the map otherwise.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
kind of thinking that. Is it just going to be just purely for that location? But sorry, yeah, go on, Andrew.
No, I was just gonna say I assumed the like all the powers and the abilities work everywhere, but maybe just the grappling would only be Neptune, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Maybe.
Mm.
But I
Yeah.
did love the fact that, like you say, it's not just you can't grapple to certain specific points. It's free. You can grapple midair. Someone interestingly said that you, and I don't know where they got this information on. You can grapple it onto your sparrow. Which, if that's the case, can you then grapple things towards you, or is it purely going to be, grappling as a form of getting around, as opposed to grappling physical objects to you? That could be interesting, though.
On that note, I do actually remember a part of the showcase trailer, and they, the Prison of Elders strike with the trains.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
about to say that.
Remember they used the grapple
Yeah.
on the train. So
So you
you've got to be
probably
able to
can-
use it throughout the world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. Like
Good point.
the prisoner train, you grappled to it and then just basically did like a jet ski, like kite surfing. He just like followed along
dude.
the train. So I'd assume based on that, it does. You probably could grapple to a sparrow. Not
Dude,
sure.
there are going to be so many raid skips where it's like, okay, grapple me, dude, and then they just boost as fast as they can and yeet the guy across the map. It's going to be great.
Mate,
I can't wait for it.
That sounds so much fun. Like, they added a grapple mechanic to Halo Infinite, and it just it opened the game up so much and added so many creative ways to fight and traverse. So if we get the same kind of thing in Lightfall, then yeah, it's just gonna be so much fun. I'm so glad they've added that and added a new way to maneuver around. Like I said, it's just gonna open up so mane creative ways to kill stuff, to traverse stuff. You're gonna get some like crazy clips on YouTube. Yeah, it's a good move, and I don't know. It feels, to me, Lightfall feels more like Destiny 3 than the Witch Queen kind of did. You've got a new planet. You've got a new. Who are the new kind of augmented guys?
Ooh, the Cloud Striders.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Yeah, the idea as well, I think, is such a fascinating one to put alongside all the different powerful entities, because whether it's the Guardians or whether it's Ascendant Hive or whether it's disciples of the Witness like Rulk, lots of these beings are basically immortal in one way or another. And then the Cloud Strikers, or Cloud Striders rather, come along and they're like, yeah, I'm incredibly powerful. I'm this buff, hulking, like 6 foot tall dude. And no, they said they're taller than that, actually.
Yeah, they're big
And,
dudes, big.
Right? But they sacrifice for that, which is what's so interesting. You have all these people who've basically been gifted these powers, including immortality, and the Cloud Striders are actively making that decision of, I'm going to shorten my lifespan specifically so I can defend people.
That was an interesting trade-off, wasn't it? They're kind of like, they've chosen that option, but they don't live as long. Yeah, it sets up a really interesting dynamic between the Guardians, who are indestructible, and these other guys that are super powerful but have got a limited lifespan. So it'll be interesting to see how they interact, if that plays into the narrative at all.
Also, visually, I think it's nice to see just complete contrast to Witch Queen, which was like a dark swamp, kind of gloomy, a little bit kind of depressing. It's not like obviously an amazing looking atmosphere, but it's a dark swamp. Whereas this is like this neon, high-tech future metropolis city. It's like blue, and you got the neon, you got the green strands. It's complete, just like night and day difference to which that the palette is completely different, which I like. So it's visually refreshing.
So it's the thing that I love about Destiny and the way that you can twist Destiny into whatever you want. Destiny is described as science fantasy, which is unbelievably appropriate at the end of the day, because you look at Witch Queen and it's a castle in the middle of a magical domain. Like, that's absolutely high fantasy with all of this different stuff. You have all of the Hive and their rituals, and quintessentially it is space fantasy. And then you completely flip the switch when it comes to Lightfall, and you're basically, as you said, Alan, you're in Blade Runner, except space Blade Runner in the future, even more science fiction than they actually pull on with that thread. And it's got those awesome vibes of just neon punk and everything in between.
So true.
Yeah.
Like, I love how Bungie is not tied down to any specific location. They can let their imagination run wild and be like, okay, this season we're doing Pirates. This season we're doing Lord of the Rings. This season we're doing Blade Runner, and it can and that is why it can just continue to go on. And do you remember as well as they were talking about Destiny's here to stay. Trust us. Destiny's here to stay. This is an ongoing thing. It's going to be around for years. I got kind of like a Star Wars vibe from it. Like, are we going to still be playing Destiny in a decade? Two decades from now? Like, Star Wars is like a 40-year-old franchise. Is Destiny going to go on for that long too? Because the limits are endless, aren't they?
Absolutely. And it's kind of what I love about both those universes, and what they both tap into is, yeah, you can absolutely run anything you want in both of those universes. Like, if you want your gritty detective story, you can get that in Destiny. You can get that in Star Wars too. If you want your old space western, the Mandalorian and the entirety of the arc on Tatooine with the Book of Boba Fett and all that, it's very, very much like built into space western. And then the flip side on Destiny, you Lost Word, Thorn, all of that, quintessentially the same thing. Like, both of these franchises, I think, have that longevity because, yeah, they are not tied down, and you can do whatever the heck you want with them. So, yeah, really exciting.
Plus we see they want to do like movies and comics and probably spin-off games, probably mobile spin-off games. So like the Destiny, I mean, Bungie have done with Destiny what most game developers could dream of, building an actual franchise that's been around for a decade. Like it's not just one of those games where you release it, it has player base for a couple of years and you move on to the next thing. This is like they've actually struck gold. So I don't think there'd be in any rush to get rid of Destiny. I think we're going to be seeing Destiny for the rest of literally as long as they could go, like decades on decades in just new games and spin-offs and movies and inspired, because the Destiny world is so massive. Like the amount of characters, it's just enormous. They could go anywhere. They could, like I said before, they could go all the way to the Dark Ages and the Collapse, and there's so many different areas which haven't even been explored in this version of Destiny. But yeah, I mean, what happens? They kept talking about the light versus dark saga ending, but we have no idea what they're going to do after that. Any guesses? Do you think there should be like more expansions? Because obviously Destiny 2, the game, would stick around free to play, but do you reckon they'll just do more expansions but less frequently? Do you reckon because I have no idea what they would do, but I would imagine something along those lines.
I think, honestly, when it comes to the next thing, we probably break out of the system. Because even if we do, end up victorious in the Light and Dark saga and the Witness is defeated, there is a ton of other stories out there beyond the reaches of our solar system. Whether it's helping the Elixir reclaim their homeworld, or whether it's helping the Cabal liberate Toro Battle, or whether it's finding out what happens to Shiva Wrath and the Hive. These are storylines that might not necessarily get resolved. And there are other things out there that we still just don't know anything about. Deep lore threads like the Aphelion and the Nine, which really are nowhere close to being truly understood at their depth or resolved. So, it's got legs. It's just a case of pulling on those different threads. And they could just come up with something completely new. I mean, aside from if it was related to this, the Nephele Stronghold link, which I think it was, but I need to dig in and confirm, we had no idea that the city on Neptune was even coming. Who even knew about there was zero hints in the lore, to the best of my knowledge, about anything to do with what's it called? It's Neomuna, I think.
Yeah, Neomuna.
I want to double check.
I think
didn't they say in the Nephele Stronghold page, it said that like Rasputin wiped his memory of it so that that no one basically knows about it. It's kind of like a secret, and he was the last person. Then after the collapse and everyone forgot everything, it's just like this forgotten about place, which I guess now we like. I assume that's probably tied to the Nephele Stronghold we saw in Witch Queen. That seems like it was.
Yeah, I'd have to presume it is a presumption, but like it all ties together so perfectly, and then it's the best excuse to hint at something which up to this point no one even knew existed, which is great. Also, here's a fun fact too. So sorry to.
That's all good, dude.
This is really good.
You are the lore master. Unwrapped. Unwrapped. Go for it, dude.
You remember Savathun had her bit where she kept on playing the game with you of 2 truths and 2 lies?
Oh yeah.
In one of those iterations, she actually says a line which I think everyone assumed was a lie, which is, quote, "The last city is not the last city," which is a really cool little hint that they totally dropped in there to the idea that, yeah, Neomuna exists and this city in Neptune's midst is totally there. You just don't know about it. And, you know, like it can be interpreted different ways, but like so clever just to drop all that stuff in there. That's maybe the only hint that was even in the game and nobody would have known.
Didn't she also say something about beyond the solar system as well, which would hint that, yeah, we are like after the Light and Darkness saga ends, we will be going beyond into a potentially completely different solar system? Didn't she hint at that as well?
Yeah, there have been hints to all sorts of different stuff. And that's what's really interesting about those little passages is we don't know what's true and what's lies.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, and there's a bunch of stuff, if you've talked about it, but about basically implying that, you know, the second collapse, the city will be destroyed, the travel will get like destroyed or go. There's all kinds, again, if you're an expert in this kind of stuff, but there's a lot pointing towards something bad happening to the last city and or tower. So what you said, Alan, about it being like a second like city, we could even end up just ditching Earth and then end up maybe this Neptune city is like the new city, and then we go beyond because obviously we've got the helm.
It could be. They're kind of setting that up now. They're kind of setting up the second home now for beyond the light and darkness saga. I can't wait to see how they wrap it up. But I think I'm most excited for what comes after, because I think they're already working on this now. So by the time we get there, it's going to be crazy. I can't wait to see what we're actually be exploring.
It really does beg the question of why are we in that city? You're completely correct. Because if you sit there and you're like, oh yeah, we're just in there fighting the darkness. Sometimes, but you know, when Forsaken was originally revealed, it took a few trailers in for us to get the big drop about Cade dying. So Bungie is very good at being able to reveal key... shocking. Yeah. Bungie's very good about being able to reveal those key story threads later in the day, so to speak, and to, you know, tie all of that together when the time is right. So yeah, no, Alan, I think you're completely correct. Like the idea of the Lost City going kaput is, it's totally on the table. Like speculation, all the stuff in the lore points to the idea that, in all sorts of different dark future timelines, we already lose the city, and this one might not be too different. So, you know, it's a very interesting, different thread.
What we need to do is come back in 10 years' time and react to this particular stream that we're doing now. See who got it right, see who got it wrong. I'll be really old. And then we can just be like, oh, right, okay. If this goes on for another decade, we can do like a little reaction to this to see what we got right and what we didn't. You down for that, boys? 10 years' time, if we're all still about?
In a decade's time, when we truly are all old men at that point. That's
I'll be super fantastic. Old. You'll just be getting kind of middle-aged and so on. Actually, not even that. I'll be dead. You'll be like still young. All right, let's put it that way.
Your live stream cam will be your gravestone.
So it's been a while, you know. Alan's old age, he couldn't make it, but he's his tombstone.
just a live stream of my tombstone, just a webcam on my epitaph.
Just take like one of your faces out of one of your thumbnails, and that's just like the image.
Oh my god, that's dark. Let's hope I'm still alive, boys. All right, let's just hope I'm still going.
It's all good because Bye for now will be able to speak for you.
All right, cheers.
You have all your best interests at heart. So
I trust you, boys. It's all good. I trust the person God. I appreciate that.
We got you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
10 years time, come back for that stream for sure.
What else is there? Shall we talk about? What do we see? Calus taking a bath.
Naked Calus
being watched by the witness. That was very weird.
That was beautiful stuff. Like Andrew, I can see like you're scared about what I'm going to say. Don't worry, I'm keeping it PG. But naked Calus was chef's kiss. Hopefully we get a naked Calus emote. That might be quite fun. Just have him scrubbing himself.
He looks so old.
He's got one of those sticks with like the scrubs.
Loofah. It's just like he's old. That's why I can relate to him, dude. That's why I like Calus. That's why he's my favorite.
He is honestly one of my favorite characters.
His voice is so great.
You know here's what's crazy. That's the first time we've seen Calus properly in the flesh.
He is old. He is old and wrinkly.
Yeah, because like every other thing has been a robot.
Almost.
Wow,
That's what Alan. That's
Mate.
is what Alan's gonna look like in
Amber,
the stream in 10 years.
Just some bald,
Andrew,
wrinkly, like
he's gonna be
slab of
just-
meat.
This wrinkled just slab.
As we sit there going, grow fat from strength. I'm down
I
for
know
that.
he's
That's
mate.
what I envision Alan to look like.
I know you main Void Hunter, Andrew, but there's no need to throw that much fucking shade. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I'm terrible with my language. Anyway.
Oh,
yeah,
I love it.
Oh, we've got
But
Calus
Mike,
as
can
a
you
witness.
explain what do you think Calus was? What was that scene about? Calus and the witness were just having a bit of private time.
Cool.
Yeah, so discussing everything to do with the Guardians and what they'll do. But more importantly, I think it represents this ultimate transfiguration, which is what Calus has been looking to attain during the season of the Haunted. You know, he's trying to move towards the final shape. And the entire thing is very much interlocking above him, like the casing around him that's very much made of pyramid tech. It almost makes it seem like Calus is being sort of improved or assembled. And they say as much in the trailer, you know, they're like, he's got these new powers and these new abilities, and so do the rest of the Cabal. So I think that's something that we'll see expanded on in some of the cutscenes in the actual campaign. And I hope it is, because they do a very good job of making sure that you get, at least in Witch Queen they did a very good job of making sure that you were familiar with the villains, which is important because then you actually have a connection to them, and it makes the campaign that much more effective. So having all of this in place implies that we might actually get an inside look at what's going on with the Witness and with Calus, his ascension, maybe his thoughts on Keitel and the Guardians. That's all good stuff if that happens. I'm very much down for that.
We also saw the Tormentor boss, which looks like some kind of an upgraded champion, but apparently they look super challenging.
Aren't they just kind of like not regular enemies, but they're going to appear like then there's not just one of them. There's going to be numerous tormentors, right? And then, yeah. Okay, cool. It's not just one single boss, is it?
They talked about them as if they're like really impossible to kill, but I'm not sure if that would just be an early stage, whether they'd be like the Briggs in Beyond Light, which are like super difficult when you first load up, but then after a while they kind of become a bit easy. But the way they talked about them, they sounded like the mini raid bosses just walking around, but I'm not sure where they are.
Yeah,
they definitely hyped them up a lot.
I think the correct analog for them is definitely like Hive Guardians were in Witch Queen, right?
Right.
So it's like this big encounter, like mini boss, 2 boss tier enemy that anchors the rest of the fight and forces your main engagement strategy. You know,
yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, so with say, I don't know, Hive acolytes, which are Lightbearer acolytes. You know, predominantly it's about dodging the flaming knives coming your way and making sure that you can actually get to that orb in time to crush it before they regen. You know, expect something similar when it comes to Tormentors, perhaps, because all of this stems from champions, you know, and the idea that Bungie is trying to move away from the lock and key encounter design. So it's probably going to be something along the lines of they'll force you to change things up. They will make you approach fights in different ways, but they'll still be flexible in the sense that you can realistically come up with a creative strategy no matter what it is, and it should be able to work. You know, they're very much trying to move away from that.
They're getting spanked. Let's be real, guys. As soon as they're on Neptune, they're getting spanked, and then we're going to say, all right, to the Cloud. Are they Cloud Runners? What are they called? Cloud...
Striders.
Striders, that's the one.
Oh my god, you know what it is? That is totally a play on Blade Runners too. How did I not put that together?
They are, yeah,
right?
So they have totally, yeah, they've unashamedly kind of gone for the Blade Runner thing. But it's cool, like it doesn't, everyone knows it's like that, but that's what makes it appealing for me. I can't wait to explore that city. It does look particularly interesting. How about that new exotic as well? Which actually, if you pre-order, we've all got pre-order links in our description boxes. If you pre-order now, you can actually get Quicksilver Storm, which is the new, and you can actually play it in game now. Did you know that? You can actually use that Lightfall weapon now in game if you pre-order. It's called Quicksilver Storm, exotic auto rifle that turns into a rocket launcher and grenade launcher.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's like, what have they done with that? I'm really excited to see what's happening on that front of things.
It feels like kind of like augmented technology, kind of like something that turns into something else, and then you've got like the Clouds guys that also have like all this augmented crazy stuff going on. Kind of seems to fit him.
I'm going to read you guys something, and I want you to hear me out on this, because this puts my brain in interesting places story-wise. This is the description on Bungie.net for Quicksilver Storm. Quote, Cloud Strider weaponry that has somehow been reshaped and found its way into our hands. We don't pretend to understand nanite technology, but what we do know is that we have no record of another auto rifle that turns into a rocket launcher that turns into a grenade launcher. And there's also this point of like the Cloud Striders are cybernetically augmented.
Yeah.
So they're really leaning into the nanite thing.
Yeah.
There's also no indication that it's necessarily SIVA, and that leads us to a really interesting new narrative place.
God,
You know,
It's
it
kind of
could
like
be,
a.
maybe not.
It's.
Who
I
knows?
mean, the whole like the Neptune, the Cloud Striders. It almost seems like a kind of an alternate timeline of if the collapse never happened, because they survived the collapse, right? So this is basically like what humanity would look like if they didn't get destroyed by the collapse. So it's almost like, I mean, the nanites, it sounds like, yeah, like SIVA, but not the evil version that we got. It's just the how SIVA was intended to be is during the Golden Age invention. So maybe it's like, I mean, it sounds like it's not, you know, evil at all like SIVA, but it seems like this is just what would have happened if things didn't go sideways.
Oh yeah. Which again is so interesting, because you basically have like, it's almost like having the control group in a scientific experiment. It's like, if you just left them to their own devices, what would they do? And apparently this is what they did. Whereas we got given the Traveler and the Light, and you know, we had some pretty bad stuff come out of that, like Warlords and Hive Guardians and all the other stuff, but you know, also the Guardians proper and the Lost City. So yeah, it's really interesting to get that direct parallel. You know, there's going to be a really interesting set of dialogue, I think, when someone like, say, Zavala talks to like one of the scholars of Neoluma, and is basically just like, oh yes, in our history this happened. It's like, oh no, I remember it. And this time we were doing this. You know, like really, really cool moments that can totally come along from all this. It's going to be great.
Also, can we talk about how with the Strand element subclass, nobody predicted that? I think we all predicted some kind of. I mean, we got the color right, green. I think we all kind of predicted it'd be green. I don't know why, but we just did. But we all assumed it would be like a thorn, poison, corrupt. Because Bungie were kind of they were putting a lot of elements in the game, but then not a single person predicted. It's kind of like a Doctor Strange, like just put out weird projections and portals
Psychic
and
energy,
psychic.
right?
Nobody predicted that.
That's so true. They kept that grapple hook under wraps. It's a miracle that didn't leak. I personally saw quite a few leaks. They were inescapable. Like I saw like the Strand as a leak even, but I had no idea.
I'm sure. So someone held you down and forced you to look at it.
They were just
you hated every moment.
If you're on social media, the leaks are just impossible to avoid.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But like no one guessed or even leaked the actual grapple hook mechanic. To me, that was the biggest surprise. Neptune was a big surprise too, but the fact that you can use the grapple mechanic, I don't think that leaked anywhere. So congrats to Bungie for somehow keeping that one under wraps. But yeah.
Oh, no, sorry, continue.
Sorry, dude. Yeah.
No, go on. I was about to cut you off.
I was just going to say, as we're talking about Strand, which of the classes did you think looked the most interesting with their Strand abilities?
Ooh.
Because I personally, I think Hunter. What do you even call that weapon? Like the rope with the little hook at the end of it.
It looks cool.
That looks so good. Like visually, I don't know if it's going to actually play that well. I'm sure it will, but visually, it looks so interesting. What kind of got you going? Like, what got you most hyped? Which class?
I'm always one for Warlock, but we've got the descriptions of all of them on Bungie.net. So for context, the Warlock subclass is called the Architect. The Hunters are called Thread Runners, which again, very Blade Runner-esque by the sounds of it.
Yeah, that's true.
The Titans are called Tyrants,
Right.
all of them work into this same ability. But I'm still sitting there with the Warlock one that I absolutely love, because the description's fantastic. It's architects effortlessly manipulate the weave using only their mind. From the backline, these telekinetic sorcerers can even twist Strand into sentient creatures to do their bidding. So it's like,
I love it, mate. I love it when you get into it.
But like, think about what that says, right? Does that mean we can like summon pets and creatures?
That's the one thing that I was like, what does that mean? Is it like, are you summoning some like demon things that like pop up? That could be cool. Or can you kind of take over an enemy? I don't know, like a
Ooh,
cheeky little
you know,
trick, get him to do your bidding.
and dude, you know what's crazy? We've had that before in Destiny 1 in Rise of Iron with the artifacts, right?
Mm,
So like it's not at all unprecedented. Like the tech is totally there.
mm.
Remind me
Yeah,
of
what was
that
it?
in
You like
Destiny 1?
stabbed. It was an artifact. I forget what it's called, but what was it? Punch melee an enemy, and then you can turn them friendly.
Oh
For like
Yeah.
god, yeah. Oh, that's old school. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And no one
Mm.
really used it because there were, the sprint cooldown. Everyone used that or the sharing.
Scories.
But
Do
Oh,
you, do you
scories.
think this might be an evolution of that then, but where you get full
could
control,
be.
or you have better control, or you can actually form something completely different out of thin air?
I have no idea, but I'm really excited to see what they do with it
Looks
because just
interesting.
the idea alone is so cool, and
Hmm.
it's totally fitting with the idea of like if you want a deeper like gear and loadout game with Destiny, like 100%, yeah, this is totally another direction they can pull stuff in. And for Warlock, at very least, it's definitely the right class to go ahead and build it on.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think it might be a hunter bias, but the second I saw, I mean, the others just looked kind of like, you just shoot green stuff, but the hunter's like got this chain with a hook on it, and he's like spinning it around. That looks really good.
Yeah, it just looked,
And
it just looked cool. Like,
yeah,
forget how it plays. It just looked fucking cool.
I instantly saw that, and I was like, I played a lot of Warlock recently, but that was like, I think I'll probably play Hunter for that, to be honest.
Yeah.
And also, didn't they
mm,
say that the grappling hook was initially just for hunters, and they were like, "This is so good, we need to just give it to all the other classes."
Oh, really?
yep,
Interesting.
100%.
Yeah, they
Yep.
said that earlier on the grappling hook was just a thing for hunters,
Ah, that's
and
interesting.
then they were like, "This is too fun. We need to make this a thing for all the classes. This needs to be what is it, subclass wide thing." So
There would be too much salt if only the hunter
yeah,
had that. Everyone would be
Oh,
like, "Hang
yeah.
on a minute, why have you made this character, have a completely new way to maneuver around and not the others?" So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it makes sense that they gave it to all three because it just would have been wrong keeping it to one character. I'm glad all three classes can be swinging around Spider-Man styly on a new planet. That just sounds fun to me.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it totally is like Spider-Man as well, because even in the trailer, they're web slinging through the like big high-rise towers.
yeah,
God, that's so cool.
Yeah, it
Spider-Man
looks so
vibes.
fun. It just looks so good. I'm
Doesn't
actually
look like
glad.
Destiny, does it? I mean, the
Oh,
whole
yeah, yeah,
the whole design when I saw it, it looks almost like fan made. It doesn't,
yeah.
because we've seen Lightfall before, and it looks all gloomy and serious. And then now when they pop it, it's like this 80s like synth like cyberpunk Lightfall. Like, the Lightfall logo just looks weird, being so like cool. Like we've always seen the old one, which is like dark and like serious, but this is just like completely different theme to what it initially looked like.
So I think
yeah.
that the main players for Lightfall advertised in like kind of the artwork. We got the Tormentor, we got the Witness, we got the Cloud Runners, we've got Calus, we've got like obviously our Guardians, and we've got Osiris as well. But I don't know if we talked about
Yeah.
Osiris is going to play a fairly big role in this. And interesting, they didn't really show much of Osiris in the actual gameplay, did they? Or in
See
the
him at
build
all?
up?
No, we don't see him at all. It's just on the if you guys go to bungie.net and check the Lightfall page, that's where you see Osiris. He's up in one of the top panels. But yeah, you're 100% right, Alan. It's and the really interesting thing too is this basically confirms like, hey, Osiris totally does wake up. He is totally alive. And more importantly, he's still taking an active part in the Destiny universe.
Mm.
And that's like the perspective of Cloud Striders too. I think for him in particular is really interesting because he's lost his light now, and he's probably, much like many others who've been in a similar position, trying to grapple with the idea of I'm still technically a guardian, but I'm not really. And so Cloud Striders present this really interesting idea for, how you can do that without really doing that.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to see them actually bringing forward that particular character for a story like this. And also, Osiris has been all over the system. Like, he's a mysterious guy. You have so many different points at which in Destiny's story he's gone off into the dark corners of space and found some strange artifact, and it's led us to the next bit of the story, or he's done some kind of secret dealings with the Exostranger and Mara Sov or Eris Morn. All of these different story threads me, Osiris is perfectly placed to be an NPC to guide us through this. Yeah, super exciting to see him return. Also,
if you're going to be
his
busy,
VO,
dude, you
so
are going to
good.
be super busy, man. When that drops, you're going to be like, how many vids are you going to be pumping out a day, Bife? You're going to be going hard on the lore.
I think the answer is yes.
Yes. How many videos?
You're just going to be
Yes.
like, oh my fucking god, let's go.
Yes.
It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a really good time.
Also,
Yeah, super pumped.
on final note on the Strand element, do we think it's going to be crazily OP and have everyone complaining for the next year like Stasis, or do we think it's going to be reasonably balanced? I personally think it's going to be crazy OP. I, for some reason, envision, like, can we grapple in the Crucible? Do we know that?
Yeah,
that's the question.
Yeah,
that is
totally.
the big question.
Because if so, that would be the new like freezing people, which is just this game breaking. If there's grappling around Crucible, but I can't imagine it not. I mean, unless it is tied to PvE or Neptune. But do we think Strand is going to break Crucible or just the game in general?
It might
Let's put it this
purposely
way.
break it at first, and then like Stasis did, and
Yeah.
then they nerf it. Like they go, okay, here's some OP powers, have fun with it, and now we've got all the complaints in. Let's nerf that. What do you reckon, Bife?
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement with the idea generally. I think no grappling, purely because of the fact that there are so many spots at which you can hang outside of a map, and if you can just get to them, like when crazy movement techs made their way into the game at different points, players proved like, yeah, if you just let us get up to these different places, we will ruin the game from up here in these different places or from outside the map here. So 100%, I think there's no grapple in Crucible. We'd need confirmation from Bungie, of course, but yeah, I'd say that there's definitely a chance that Strand is OP at start, because that is very much the running trend. You insert something strong so that people can have fun with it, and then you balance things out as time goes on.
Vex Mythoclast, hi, Destiny 1. Do you remember that, Vex Mythoclast?
Oh my
Where everyone was just like, what is this? I never got it. Like, you didn't get it for ages. There was like
Oh yeah, let's not remind Live. Let's not bring this up. You just brought up some trauma.
You just
Can
never got
we
Vex
talk about
Mythoclast.
that for a second? When I got it, Oki had gotten 25 mythos and I had 0. And you, sir, you jumped into the final boss at last minute and got yours to drop without doing anything. You were a ghost.
I stole your
loot.
Vex Mythoclast. But the thing is, I got the nerfed version. I never owned the, oh my god, I'm melting everyone in one shot version, which I remember seeing going, I'm never getting that. But that I reckon
it was only around for like 2 weeks or something.
Do you think they do that on purpose? They just add something in, make it super OP,
so.
let the hardcore get it, enjoy it, and then the casuals can come along later and be like, okay, we've got the watered down version of it. But
yes and no, maybe.
Yeah,
they definitely want things to launch strong. I think that there's definitely also the point of which saying like, you know, their QA team is only so big, and Destiny has literally millions of players within its player base now. So it's very easy for people to suddenly reveal like, hey, this is actually way OP. And also it may have been the thing that, you know, QA team knew that it was strong prior to that, and just wasn't able to go ahead and get that sorted in time for a patch because there's limited resources, and triage is totally a thing. But launching an exotic being strong is almost always like better from an experience in PvE and PvP when it comes down to the people who actually get it, and it makes it more iconic in many of those moments. And you know, you can always reel it back with patches. That's the joy of live game.
Yeah,
so
that's the good thing.
Maybe not.
I feel as if players want to break the game, they will break the game. Like there are speedrunners, there are glitch enthusiasts. They're just people out there that will just, it's their job in life, it's their goal in life to break the game in kind of fun and fantastic ways. And I used to do that myself, like do the whole glitch. I was kind of quite heavily involved in the glitch scene. They were just fun. So go ahead, break the game. Bungie will patch it at some point.
I don't think they would deliberately want to release stuff that is just, you know, not a good player experience or just broken, or like deliberately, you know, make their game something that people would like get really, really bent out of shape for. But I think if they're going to lean on like, okay, we can either lean on the weaker side or the OP side, they're always going to, especially when it launches, because you got to think about, the casual player base they're trying to make buy this expansion. If they hear about, oh, have you heard this crazy new stasis? It's all everyone's talking about. At the end of the day, it is just kind of marketing. Like everyone that's talking about how much they hate it, another person will be like, oh, that actually sounds kind of fun. I might actually buy this expansion just to try it out. So what you see people complain on Reddit and Twitter about doesn't necessarily reflect the whole player base of people that be like, yeah, that's pretty fun. Whereas, some people would complain and say, this is unplayable. I refuse to play. This is, and they get really, really frustrated about it. Whereas to other people, they just kind of, a lot more casual players, I don't think they really care that much. And it might even help draw them in if they hear about this crazy, if there's a bunch of videos and everyone's talking about this crazy new Strand subclass, it probably makes them more likely to try it. So they would definitely have an incentive to want to make it good. You're not going to release a whole new subclass, have all this resources and time and money into it, and it just be mid. Like you want it to be lean on the good side, and then they can always patch it later. I think that's probably their protocol, I would imagine, as a non-game developer.
You want to be green Spider-Man, right? That's what you want to be. You want to be green Spider-Man, and then have your fun, and then see how it goes from there. I'm down.
As a rule of thumb, people like cool things, I mean, when we're done here, I'm jumping into the new season because I want to be a pirate.
You want to
Hell yeah, I want to be a pirate. I'm plundering that booty for all it's worth.
Biff, I was going to say, before this stream started, Biff was like, I'm plundering that booty, and I'm like, you've got to include that in the live stream.
No content.
I just want to see Biff plundering some booty. It's going to be awesome. Yeah. No, our matey. It's like season of the Pirates of the Caribbean, basically, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No,
season of the Pirates of the Caribbean. That is a great. You should work for Bungie's marketing team.
Do you know what I mean?
Season of the Pirates of the Caribbean. I almost wish that was the name.
We got some Jack Sparrow shizzle going down, but yeah, it looks fun. You're living your pirate fantasy. I'm going around with my swords because hey, that's what pirates do. Have you played the 6-man? Is it called Catch Crash activity? The new seasonal activity?
I haven't even had a chance to jump in yet, but
it's quite fun.
I'm really excited.
It's
the thing too. It's just what we were saying again. Like Destiny can be anything. Hell yeah, this can be Sea of Thieves in space. Like my god, it's so brilliant.
Yeah, it is basically you just launching onto pirate ships, clearing out the enemies. You've got your classic Bungie orb mechanics in there as well. But yeah, it's quite fun. So have you guys not actually played it yet? You haven't.
I played the first mission and then I watched you play the rest of it. I watched your stream.
Good lad.
I saw you playing past the first mission.
Yeah, played a little bit. Yeah, it's cool. The cutscene was nice. It was fun. I tried out the Hunter's new Arc Super. Guys, remind me of the name. I can't quite recall it. Do you know what they are? He basically jumps in the air, throws his arc staff down. It emits some electricity, and it seems pretty OP.
A giant anarchy bolt.
Yes.
You just lob it down and it just continues to shock stuff.
It was nice. I think you can actually impale enemies directly with it as well, or just chuck it in the ground and then you get
my god,
area of damage.
Sorry. Someone in my chat has just said this, and this is brilliant because it's such great vibes. But apparently in the season there is a servitor called Skur 5, but it's 5 with a Roman numeral, so it's Skur V.
Oh, Bungie!
Oh, Bungie's doing it again.
Bungie and their little play on words, the cheeky scams.
They love their pirate themes, don't they?
Oh, love it, dude. It's good.
It kind of is like Reef Wars, Fallen, pirate. I mean, it seems like they've wanted to do this for a while, the whole Fallen pirate theme. And now that we have allied friendly Fallen, we're all just like seeing how the Fallen work when they're not trying to steal the Traveler all the time. So we're just seeing them just in their pirate habitats.
I really like the idea of Bungie each season having a really strong theme that they work around. I think that's an excellent way to do things. Like I said, like Lord of the Rings, then we got Pirate, then we got Blade Runner. I think that's such a good way of doing it because it just really focuses the aesthetic and then you can build everything around that particular aesthetic. And it just gives it a really strong, unique identity. So rather than seasons kind of blending into each other, you've got, that was the pirate season. Because, casual players can be like, that was the pirate season. That was the Blade Runner season. As opposed to perhaps names that they might not remember or stick in the memory. So I love the fact that they're doing this. I think it's really
100%. Cool. It also feels like they're just having more fun with it now. Like, yeah, sure, Season of the Haunted was very much this like somber, very meaningful story moment where you're exploring those characters. But this feels like they basically just took all the wheels off and said, "Let it run, let it go as fast as it can, and let it go crazy." I'm I have no other way of putting it other than it sounds like they just wanted to have fun.
Also, did you see? Well, were you going to say something
No,
else?
no,
on that
go
topic?
for it, dude. No, go
I was
for it,
going to
dude.
change the subject to
Go for it.
something
Yeah,
else.
yeah. No, cool. Go for it.
I was going to say, did you see that cinematic that was like a story recap?
Oh, that was so good.
How
Oh
good was that?
yeah,
That
at
was
the
like,
beginning.
I feel like that is many years overdue, but
Oh,
that's probably
dude!
one of the simplest,
Mate,
like,
couldn't agree
explanation.
more.
They've never done anything like
100%.
that in all of Destiny. You just explained, this is the light, this is the darkness, the good guys, the bad guys. This is the just so basically on Destiny. It was just so. I hope they embed that into just the whole
New
game
light.
and put it
Throw
into
it in
new
new light at the beginning.
That would be perfect.
Right.
Andrew, I could not agree more. That's exactly what was going through my mind when I saw it. This is long overdue, and it's just a beautiful, tidy summation of everything that's gone before.
tidy.
And you don't need to have you don't need to have seen anything. You can be a completely new player, see that, understand what's going on, and then get on with it. But I couldn't agree with you more, mate. That is long overdue. Would you, as a lore dude, Bife, do you think they summed that up really well?
It makes me so happy that they did that, and yeah, they absolutely did. But more importantly than that, new light and new players generally have always been the kind of pain point for Destiny's experience for people coming in. When you're a bolted on veteran, you're bolted on pretty hard, but getting people to that place is difficult. My wife recently started playing Destiny casually, and every single turn of the way, she was making points of saying like, this could be a whole lot better for the new light experience.
That's
This is just
interesting.
another one of those points. It's one of the number one things they should really fix about Destiny is just the new player experience, getting people up to speed with what's going on. And the fact that they named the witness and actually were actively saying like, yes, this is our enemy. It's such a small thing to us, but to a new player, that's a really big deal. You're going into the Light and Darkness saga with this important basic context of, at very least, even if the nuance needs to be dug up and you'll find out more about it as you play, Darkness, Witness, kind of bad. Traveler, Light, kind of good. As long as you have those basic divisions there, you can start to then dig into the rest of it. Like they've done a really good job of getting that done.
Yeah, I feel in the past Destiny kind of lacked that here's the bad guy, here's the good guy. It was a little bit ambiguous, but now I think they've gone into, okay, here is the big bad, that's the Witness. That's what we're aiming for. And this is now the Light and Darkness saga. And once we deal with the Witness, however that may be, interesting if we lose, we probably won't. We're going to win, I'm sure. And then that's that saga done, and let's move on. So yeah, I totally agree. They really needed like a focal bad guy, kind of like Marvel's Thanos. Like he was the end goal. He was the ultimate bad guy.
Yeah, I definitely get those vibes.
Yeah, and like in order to kind of once Thanos was vanquished, we're getting into separate territory here, but once Thanos was vanquished, I feel as if that whole the Marvel Cinematic Universe lost its way a little bit. You really do need that central bad guy to focus on, I think. Something to work towards. But yeah, interesting.
100%.
Yeah, I always think that I always wonder about like new light players. I think if I did never even heard of Destiny and I started playing now, I would have so many questions on it. And there are just basic things that we all just know because we've been playing this game for a ridiculous long amount of time. But just even like what even is the traveler? Like a new player wouldn't even, there's no context or explainer. So this was just like a perfect foundation of, oh yeah, so this is what we're doing. These are aliens, you've got these bad guys. This is just kind of the gist of what's going on. But I mean, there are things in this game that, as much as I've played this game, that even confuses me. But I was thinking, if I didn't know anything about Destiny, I would be so lost. And it's a very commonly talked about thing with Destiny is the new light experience. But it seems like they're slowly working on it. I'm sure Lightfall will have some other stuff as well, like some more recaps, and they've got the little timeline in the director, so you can kind of see a general gist of events. But that was a very, very good cutscene.
Yeah, no,
it looks like. Oh yeah. Sorry, go on. Go on.
I was just agreeing, dude. Yeah, go for it, Bive.
Yeah, I think the it leans into what they're trying to focus on with that, which is just improving the general experience of making sure that players can turn from relatively new, unseasoned guardians into veterans. Even things like that. Finally implementing an in-game LFG. And simplifying the mod systems and all that. Like These are all
Loadouts
big
as well.
steps to
Like
making sure that everything functions.
Yeah, the
So
whole
what we're
loadout thing.
getting, what is it? The kind of social, what's the name of it? Guardian ranks?
Yes,
It
Guardian
was,
ranks, I
yeah.
think.
The ranking system, and then it's basically a build on the, what's it called in currently, the LFG thing that they did? The
Guided
system,
games, is
guided
that?
games. Yeah, it's kind of like, it looks like guided games just massively expanded, and once you finish activities with players, you can like rate them on, they were a good leader and they were a good ally. I can't even remember what they were, but they're all just like these compliments. I don't think it didn't look anything negative. So if you do a bad job,
we were calling
there's
that
nothing.
before the stream. We were calling it snitch mode. It's just snitch mode, but it's just so funny. Like, this player did well. I would love it if they called it snitch.
I've ever encountered.
This player was an absolute scumbag. Report.
That is what the report button is for. That's for
I
certain.
would love it if they called it snitch mode, because it kind of ties into the drifter as well, doesn't it? The drifter hates snitches. God, yeah. Just him just popping up going snitch. I just love that, mate. It'd be so good. But God, yeah, so they got snitch mode. And so what was Guardian ranks then? What was that? Because that's the one thing where I was like,
So essentially, it's like this system by which the higher your Guardian rank is, the more that you've been able to prove that you as a Guardian are sort of fluent in all the different parts of the game and you're able to guide people through. So I imagine that in the higher ranks, it will actively ask you to Sherpa people through endgame activities.
Right.
I didn't get a look at it, but that's what it seems to be implying from what they've said about it. And it's this thing of saying like, hey, you know, your Guardian rank at the end of the day is just this aspirational thing where you can boost it up and you can basically say like, yeah, you know, like I'm sitting here with a higher Guardian rank and that makes me feel good. But also they're encouraging you to go out there and create these good social experiences for new players in the process of that own internal progression. So when you do get to Guardian rank 11, which I think was named Paragon on the live stream, you'll be able to sit there and be like, yeah, if you want to go ahead and get Sherpa through a raid or a dungeon, I can do that for you. You want to know how to do a GM Nightfall? Yeah, we can do that. You want to go ahead and Sherpa someone through trials? Not necessarily my thing, but I got a buddy who's great. You know, all these different things. So yeah, that's what it seems to be.
Do you get rewarded for that as well? Do you get like a visual flourish? Do you get loot? Do you get an emblem? Or is it just purely self-satisfaction? Oh, I helped this person, I'm this rank. Or do other players get to see that? Do you know what I mean?
I think the main reward is because it's kind of like a resume kind of profile. So I think the reward is the ranks and the status that you get on your profile as, oh, I've guided 100 raids, and that's kind
really
of
good.
itself.
That's really good.
There will be, you know, a bunch of Sherpas, a bunch of helpful people that like to help out new players. I think they will really. I think why this is good is because now they have a way to build up their kind of profile or resume so that it gives you kind of like bragging rights as, you know, you are clearly established for sherping a bunch of people through this. You can see accolades on people's profile, and I think that kind of is the social reward that all, and then I guess you probably get more rewards the more you do, but I'm sure there'll be lots of emblems, but I can't imagine there'll be actual physical loot, but I think the profile itself having those accolades
not
is
interested,
the
mate. No loot, not interested.
I mean, they did show off. They did show off like this glowing aura on one Guardian, which was kind of like implied of like, hey, he's a really high level Guardian, and he's dropped into the tower, and he's got like the stag antlers from back in the Revelry, and he's got this massive golden glow on most of his armor. So maybe there is, but it's probably cosmetic to go along with all of the other stuff that just sits there like an emblem as rank and reputation, you know?
Yeah, I think it's good.
It's a good
it rewards people that genuinely do that stuff, like the raid Sherpas. They're the unsung heroes of Destiny, and this will give them their time to shine. I think my stats will say 0 raid Sherpas. Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, there you go. You've done a good deed. Here is your kind of recognition for that. So it is cool. It really does help build those niche communities that makes Destiny so important. The raid Sherpas, the people that speedrun, the people that do this. So yeah, it's a nice little cap duff to those people. So yeah, it's good.
It's good to have a obviously in 2023 with Lightfall there'll be a finally in-game LFG, so you don't have to use any other app or any, which has been the case since 2014.
Yeah.
Been
Oh,
figuring
yeah.
out how to just get players together, but now you'll be able to do it in game. Click a few buttons, go to whatever screens, and you'll be able to do a raid with people without leaving the game, which
Yeah.
is quite big.
Yeah.
It's
Speaking of,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
no, go for it, Bive. Go for it, mate.
I was going to switch topics. So if you
No,
guys want
go
to
for
say,
it.
you go for it. But
I was gonna just no, go for it, dude. Go for it.
I was going to say, speaking of raids,
Oh,
King's Fall is back,
oh, hello.
and it looks hot. Like, oh my goodness.
The armor from what was it? Age of Triumph. The
Like,
cool looking design.
We have all of the old weapons, including Touch of Malice, coming back. Oryx
all that,
looks
the ornament.
very sexy. Very excited for people to play that for the first time if they haven't. If you've not, it is one of the coolest things that came out of Destiny 1, and undoubtedly it is favorably remembered in Raiders' minds because it is one of the biggest exhibitions of boss fights in all of Destiny's history. You know, like this was the inspiration for Last Wish in terms of just the boss structure and how intensive the fights were. You know, so
Did we
very
do that
excited
together,
to see
guys?
that come
Did
back.
we complete that together? Didn't we? Did
Yeah,
we?
we did.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we did that together as Peasant Guard. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that was a fun raid. Sure.
Back in ye old days. Oh god.
man.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. This might be not sure how popular this take is, but the Oryx fight itself isn't my favorite.
Get out.
Only because the ogres are the main boss fight, but Golgoroth is definitely one of my favorite encounters. That's a cool encounter.
Dude. Do you think they'll have made people not do
And the
the
War
one
Priest.
orb strat on Golgoroth? Do you think they're going to make them do the intricate dance of like 6
Probably.
orbs and people jumping back in and out?
Because that was intended, wasn't it? That was how they designed it, for you to be like hopping over the room. So I would imagine they're probably going to change a lot of the mechanics and make it harder, and probably force you to do the original intended way of doing it.
Oh yeah, I'm really interested to see what changes they bring, because there are definitely some fights that they could sort of improve and tie together a little better. In particular, Daughters of Oryx and War Priest. You know, those encounters to me feel very much like bits of the raid. Yeah, and also the totems outside of War Priest. Like there's definitely encounters which are more Destiny 1 encounters than Destiny 2 ones. So I'm very interested to see how they edit those things up and change things. But man, it's going to be so good to step back into the Dreadnought as well, because that is one of the coolest destinations Destiny's ever done.
Yeah.
For people who've never seen it before, I can't wait for you all to experience it. It's by far one of the coolest places, both in terms of aesthetic and in terms of lore. So cool.
Are you guys going to be doing day one? Sorry, go on. Sorry, dude.
I was just going to say the opening, the tomb ship. You remember the jumping puzzle?
Oh,
I want to do that.
Yeah.
Day one, I assume, Bife, you will be going day one. I will probably not, because I am a filthy casual. I will wait until it's done, and then I will hop in the backpack of someone much more competent, and I will have a nice leisurely stroll.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Contest mode is
I will give the little plug right now. Bob and I have our raid team assembled, so go over to twitch.tv/BarbarichHam on the day, and you'll be able to see us run through it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Loads of us in the raid team are all D1 players who've done it before, so yeah, we're gonna really look forward to working our way through this and just storming through the Dreadnought like in the days of old. It's going to be a fantastic time. I can't wait.
Whenever you go and do a new raid, do you kind of pester your teammates with the lore? Are you just sitting there going, and guys, this? Are they just sitting there going, can we just play? And you're like, no, this fucking stone. So sorry. Sorry, this stone is important to the lore, okay? And they're just like, can we just get on with the encounter? And you're like, no. Let me tell you about the stone.
I remember doing this to you guys at one point, because we did Leviathan Raid together as PG as well. And I remember in Leviathan Raid, when we were at Final Boss at Calus, he started to break apart, and I had that lore moment of, oh my god, it's not really Calus, it's a machine. And you literally just said, Bife, please shut up, we're trying to DP this.
I miss that, dude. I miss that. You're so passionate about the lore. I do miss that. Like what made doing it like a day one raid so much fun was you. A big part of it was you, Bife. You just getting super into it. and
Yeah, that was my
disciplining
very
anyone.
first the Vault of Glass. The very first time I did Vault of Glass after the Bungie bounty. I remember Bife was like
Oh,
the
the origins of
Sherpa, and
PG,
he
dude.
was walking us through, and he was like, "So this is a Gorgon. Don't walk into this; it'll kill you."
Don't make
He
it
was
will
just
die.
leading us through.
God, back in the days when I was toxic Sherpa, man. Oof.
No, you were the man. You were the man. No toxicity at all. You're a legend. Still are,
It was
mate.
Bife explaining the lore, and then
Oh.
Alan looking at a chest for 10 hours so he can get footage for a video. Like, hang on, guys, can we not go here until I just need to record this real quick? Just no
Oh
one
my
go any
God,
further.
yeah.
It's like, Alan, are you done? It's like, no, just I just need to get this shot real quick. Just
Oh my God, yeah, man. Like,
Wife,
oh, dear.
I've got a question. Have you got Fatebringer? Can you send me some Fatebringer footage, please?
When anyone got exotic loot, I was like, let me
Oh,
inspect
100%.
and now.
We
Come on,
all
let me
jumped
inspect
on
you.
that back in the day, didn't we?
Oh,
Oh,
mate.
that was so good.
If you popped out a cheeky little video that said new raid exotic, that's it. You were getting views. I was like, I'm inspecting that right now. Ah, the fun days, mate. It was good.
The mighty algorithm comes along and is casual. Like, yeah, have 500,000 views. That's fine.
Yeah, it was great. Just had to flash some exotic loot. What other stuff, guys? What other stuff dropped in this
well, there
momentous
is
thing?
the biggest crossover that nobody expected.
Oh,
Fortnite,
oh,
Epic Games,
Oh.
and Fall Guys.
oh.
Yeah.
I'm
Fall
still not even
Guys.
fully sure what is Destiny getting Fortnite content or skins?
So Destiny is getting Fortnite armor, and
Yeah.
Fortnite is getting 3 specific skins. I believe it's Zavala, the Stranger, and Ikora.
And Akora.
And I believe so. You can basically play as those characters in Fortnite, and a lot of people are
And the
raging because they
Stranger's
wanted
fish.
Cade. Can you as well?
No, the Stranger. It's
Oh,
an
yeah.
item in Fortnite.
Okay, interesting.
It's like a.
On that note, we learned its name. It's called Puka.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Stranger's fish. That was What was the? Didn't some more info come out about that? The thing that we just saw in a trailer one time, had a billion questions for, and Bungie
And then
were
it just
like,
disappeared.
nope.
And now we know the name. We know that it's thanks to the collector's edition, because there's a statue of it. It's called Puka, and yeah, it is apparently a mystery that seems as though it might be tied into the new Neptune destination. Maybe, because it does look like potentially, if you dig around in it, it's got that kind of nanite tech. Maybe it fits that vibe. I don't know. Like,
Puka.
either way, we
weird name.
finally have something. It's no longer just fish.
It's Puka fish.
I
That is such
remember
a weird
walking
name.
away in frustration after having just shouted at my mic, being like, "It's a goddamn fish!" Just, that's all we knew for years. Finally, we have something. We can
Puka.
say its name.
I'm looking forward to the Puka memes. There's got to be some memes out there, surely. That's gonna Puka. Is it?
Why does Puka sound like it's some like rude word in
I
another
know.
language?
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
Are we gonna get cancelled for saying that? Puka. It just sounds like a weird
sounds
word.
a little. It's something about it sounds a little dirty, and I can't place it, but I don't
It
know.
sounds like it's offensive in some language. I don't know what language.
Puka Rule 34. You know it's happening soon.
Oh, loud.
And let's move on to the next subject.
Oh, Fortnite.
Guys, I'm going to plug my thing. I'm doing a Fortnite stream in a couple of days. Come join me. I'll be playing
If you want to see
Fortnite.
the crossover,
I'll be playing
The best part
Fortnite.
is he's not joking. He's going to be playing
It's true.
Fortnite.
I will be, and I'll be wearing. I'll be Zavala. I'll be the Stranger, and I'll be Ikora playing Fortnite. So there you go.
you I have utmost confidence in you in your Fortnite abilities. I think you're going to do great.
I think if I was 25 years younger, I might have a chance. But at the moment, I'm just like, where did I get shot from? What's going on? Why someone built a mansion in 2
My guy.
seconds?
I have seen you play Mario Kart. You have wiped the floor with people. You will be fine.
Mate, I did kill that. Do you remember? I am pretty good at Mario Kart. I'm not gonna lie.
You freaked out Bob. He was like, "Oh my god, Alan is a Mario Kart sweat. What the heck is this?"
Dude, I'm a Nintendo sweat as well, man. Like Mario Kart, whew, I'm not too shabby at it. Haven't played it for a while though, but I feel as if we are deviating.
It's because you were already 100 when Mario Kart first came out. So
Dude, I have been playing for about
you had an
25
advantage.
years.
You had a head start.
Yeah, no, I'm a bit of a Mario Kart swear. What can I say?
It's
a good
also
game.
on the Epic Games Store, which is interesting. So that technically opens up Destiny to a massive new audience. So we'll probably see the player count it's live right now. But we'll probably see the player count. Well, what was it on just before? Steam, and was that it?
On PC, yeah, it would have been
It-
Steam, and you could have played it on Stadia, but Stadia's a web browser technically, so it's more than just PC.
Right, and then it was on BattleNet and it swapped over to Steam, but now it's going to be on both Steam and Epic. And Epic was also, of course, tons of free to play games on there, so you'll have people that only exclusively use that, and they'll be browsing around. They'll see Destiny's free, and also doing a bunch of freebies as well, like
Oh
to give you
yeah,
a 30th anniversary pack for free if you go on Epic Games, and also the week of this launch, all the expansions are free for like a trial period. So they're really trying to get people to hop in.
That's huge.
which
I think the Epic, Destiny crossover is huge. Actually, I think that's a big deal. I think that's going to bring in a lot of new players. And the free content for a week. That's gonna help a lot of new players discover the game as well. Jump in, see if they like it. Maybe that's why we got that
100%.
new cutscene as well, because there's going to be an influx of new players when the
Oh,
content is
yeah.
free. So they're like, okay, let's do a nice little summary showcase of the story for all the new players that jump in. Hopefully that hooks them in and they can continue their journey.
Absolutely.
Explainer.
Also, something else that's really exciting on this front, I think, something that is fundamental for new and old players, no more sunsetting.
Oh God, yeah.
Everything in the game now will remain in the game
That's
forever.
good. Yeah, that was a kind of a looming question that people were starting to think, like, hang on, are they about to, like, does that mean Beyond Light will get sunset eventually?
sunsetting
are
the
they just gonna
moon?
keep
Like,
on-
yeah.
how is that going to work? So they're not going to sunset any more expansions, but obviously they'd sunset the seasonal content, and I guess just locations and like activities that I guess are bloating the game, but anything in an expansion is here to stay.
I think so. It's a really, they have
I
put that out
assume
as a very
seasons
broad
too.
statement, right?
Yeah, it's loosely worded.
Yeah, I assumed seasons 2, but you might be right. I mean, if it's seasons 2, that is a solid statement of intent.
Oh yeah,
It's a
100%.
guys, this is our universe ain't going anywhere. That's kind of the impression I got. They were like, we're here for the foreseeable future, and we're not sunsetting. And that was quite a solid statement of intent. Like, nothing's going away. This universe is here to stay, and we're just gonna expand onwards, and we're not gonna get rid of anything. So
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was exciting and interesting actually. But do you think they will get rid of seasons then and just keep the main expansions? Is that what you thought, Andrew?
I think the seasonal content, I would imagine, would disappear because it is kind of meant to be temporary by nature.
Yeah.
But it's not like the seasons have new. I guess they do have like new locations, but I meant more like the activities and just the weekly ritual stuff from the season. I'd imagine they'd
But the loot
probably
will
get
probably
rid of
stay.
those because they might bloat them. What's that?
But the loot, I'm assuming, would stay, like the exotics.
yeah.
They'll probably just
Yeah.
weave that into something else. Sorry, what were you going to say,
for
Bife?
sure.
You were just about to say something, dude.
Yeah, I feel like if they do at very least keep all the seasons around from now on and have that persistent narrative, they've chosen a really interesting time to do it, because in each of the different expansions and in lots of the different seasons prior, particularly Crow's story and things that have been very persistent story threads throughout, all of that stuff has now come to a head in the Season of the Haunted, and it's also introduced Calus as this final thing. So if this is the start of a point when seasonal narratives remain around as well, it's a really interesting point to jump in, and it's a very good juncture. You suddenly have a good foundation to the villain that you're going to be facing next, which is Calus, of course. You have this further idea of what the mechanics behind all the witnesses stuff are. There's lots of good stuff if they do keep all of that around. But my instinct, I think, is in that same vein of they might not keep it, because it seems like they won't sunset expansions. But who knows? I personally would be glad if they kept seasons about. The current, they go away at the end of the year. Who knows if they'll stay?
Yeah, fair play. Interesting. Yeah, so overall impressions, guys. Lightfall, I mean, season 18, season of the pirate, basically, like living your pirate fantasy. That looks really interesting. I can't wait. I'm going to probably hop in after this stream. Actually, give that a good solid couple of hours play.
Oh yeah.
But I think the main, I don't know, the main thing for me was Strand. It's the grapple mechanic that got me hyped the most out of the reveal. So my takeaway was Strand was really impressive. Obviously Neptune too. What about you guys? What was your like WTF moment where you're like, okay, wow, I'm intrigued? If you could just choose one.
Man, that's so hard to pick just one.
For me, grapple mechanic Strand.
Gosh.
For me, I'd probably say Neptune. Honestly, I think my favorite elements of the DLC is always the locations. I like just having a new world, and the fact this is actually a planet. It's not just like some random moon or some random just location kind of plucked out of nowhere. It's actually just like Neptune. So they can. I feel like there's going to be a lot of, and the fact that it's kind of like this untapped secret world, and they did say there'd be a lot of secrets and kind of stuff buried, which honestly for Witch Queen I was kind of underwhelmed by the level of secrets. I feel like it wasn't that, like, there wasn't a ton of world secrets and in-depth stuff. I feel like almost like the Dreadnought had more kind of secrets and puzzles, and the key of what is it, chest of maggots, and the
Tons
scent,
of different
all
chests,
that weird
Yeah,
stuff. You just walk down a corner and be like, oh, what's this green glowing cave?
I need a key of Yule or a key of Akka or something, right?
I feel like there wasn't a ton of that in the Throne world, but they did say there'd be more of that on Neptune, and I think especially that Neptune is this like new thriving cyber city metropolis. I'm hoping for a lot of depth. It looks almost like a mix of Europa and Titan.
Yeah.
That kind
Yeah,
of
very much so.
future city vibe. So yeah, for me it's the location. I think Neptune. That's what I'm most looking forward to, I would say.
I'd say, as far as like story stuff, which of course is more of my wheelhouse on this thing, I definitely want to see more about the Cloud Striders. You have a really, there's cool themes here. You're going with New Darkness subclass, the Witness, Calus, Shadow Legion, the Tormentors. All of that stuff's really cool. But the Cloud Striders represent something that is very new to Destiny and something that I think is completely out of left field. I don't think anyone expected Strand, but even fewer people could have expected Cloud Striders and the way that sort of functions. So I'm really, in particular, I can't wait to sit down and see the discussion that occurs inevitably between some NPC Cloud Strider that we get to know for the campaign's duration and Osiris, who inevitably is going to be one of our contacts, as we know from some of the marketing of Lightfall. And when we sit there and have those conversations of what's their take on us, do they see us as inferior because they've advanced more than us? Probably. Do they see us as some kind of aberration because they didn't, they had to choose to defend their home and we didn't choose, we got chosen? What's their take on the Witness and the Black Fleet and everything to do with Calus? I'm really interested to see where that storyline goes, because I think that's where lots of the depth and character stuff is really going to come to a head. So yeah, super cool on that front. Very excited.
Totally. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yes. I agree with all that. Like, how narratively are they going to interact with the Guardians, because they seem like such a different thing. Like I said, they've got this limited lifespan, whereas we are kind of pretty much if we've got a ghost, we are indestructible. So surely that's going to have some kind of leanings on the narrative. But yeah, interesting. 100%. So we all kind of picking something different from it.
We see we saw a lot of stuff about, people always talk about a new enemy race, but to get a new friendly race was kind of a curveball. I don't think anyone expected here's an ally that's you're not shooting the face. Is actually friends, which is a rare thing in Destiny. So yeah, a lot of overall, I think with this with Lightfall, a lot of unexpected surprises like Strand, like Neptune. That was all just I wasn't actually expecting anything because they had released absolutely nothing. They kept it all under wraps. But I don't think anyone predicted Neptune or Strand. It's all very much like, oh, this is a surprise. So that's good.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
100%.
Wasn't predictable.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Certainly was not expecting the Blade Runner vibes, but I'm very happy it's here.
all in all, I thought that was a really exciting, unexpected stream. Like there were secrets that didn't leak beforehand, which is so unexpected. But yeah, overall, I rate this as one of my favorite showcase reveals. I'm not gonna lie, I just really
It was very
enjoyed this
well
one.
done.
It was really well done.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I kind of rate that one pretty highly.
What was the peak
yeah.
view? Oh, sorry, you gone. Bye.
I'd say it's up there with Witch Queen. That's it. Yeah.
I was gonna say, do we know what the peak viewers were? I saw like 300,000 or 400,000.
I think I
Really?
saw
Wow.
450,000 on
Ooh,
Twitch, but I can't
wow.
remember.
And
That's
there was
crazy.
like 200,000 on YouTube as well. So there was definitely like 500,000.
How does that compare to Witch Queen? Do you remember what was the kind of concurrent max views on
Don't
that?
remember.
That's a pretty healthy number of people watching though.
But yeah, Destiny reveals can always pull
A
serious
lot.
numbers. And I
Yeah.
feel like if anything, I feel like the leaks were almost a good thing. I'm sure obviously no one at Bungie likes their stuff. As designers and developers, it's not cool when stuff you've been working on leaks. But as far as, I definitely don't, there are always conspiracy theories. People say, oh, are they just like leaking it deliberately to try and drum up hype?
Definitely
I
not.
don't think that's the case.
No.
Because that's like seriously illegal. And if you
No.
if like this is multi millions of dollars worth of IP and that stuff, like people get taken to court over that. But I definitely weren't deliberate. But I feel like Bungie probably, they've got this whole like probably response team monitoring every corner of the internet, and they probably saw like, oh, a lot of stuff's leaking. But I mean, in my opinion, I think it's just kind of good marketing, because the hardcore people that see it on Twitter and Reddit got hyped, and I saw
Yeah.
a bunch of people saying like, this is like got me more excited for the reveal than anything. And it didn't leak like too much. It wasn't like you had to watch the reveal to get the details. But I feel like I saw a lot of hype on the internet because of the leaks. So I think if anything, it kind of just drummed up a bit of hype. And then again, also, like I said, 95% of players that aren't on the internet, that just play casually and just hear about stuff through word of mouth, they would have not seen the leak. So it's not like the entire content got spoiled for everyone. It's just like, if you're savvy enough to know where to go to the dark corners of the internet and find the leaks, then you will.
Yeah.
And it kind of
Yeah,
hypes
absolutely.
them up, and then everyone else, probably not many of the average player base would have seen the leak. So it kind of, if anything, it looks like it looked like it drummed up some hype.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. I think overall, yeah, I don't think anything was ruined. Like you say, the hardcore people, they're always gonna find the leaks, and then you've got maybe the more casual mainstream that came in and were like, "Yo, this is new, this is crazy, this looks amazing." You can be Green Spider-Man. I'm in. Let's get Lightfall. And you can, if you like are hyped about Lightfall and you're interested in it, there are links in each of our descriptions, and you can go down, have a little look, and discover more about Lightfall. If you don't necessarily pre-order it, you can learn more. Links in the description box below.
Click on them links. It helps go ahead and spread the word. And also, if you got someone who's a new player to Destiny, send them to that link too. It should be all very, very wonderful.
Indeed.
Yes.
Guys.
More details that can be found in the leaks, in the links.
Leaks as well, though. Let's be real. You can find all the details in the leaks. But or if you want to do it officially, the links. Get in there and have a little look. But I think we've covered all bases, guys. What do you think?
I think we did. I think we talked about just about everything. A lot to get through, a lot of talking. Hopefully everyone enjoyed it.
Go and play season 18. It's now available. Go play that stuff.
I'm gonna go plunder that booty like I was talking about, man.
I'm gonna plunder some booty as well. Might not be season 18 though.
I want to make that sound like, I want to see that clipped.
Sorry guys. Well, okay. Should we go before I drink any more and get us in more trouble? Okay. I'm gonna go and plunder season 18 booty. Let's do it. All right, guys. So should we wrap it up and say goodbye to our lovely audiences?
Yes,
indeed.
I think that was good. So thanks everyone for joining. Hopefully you enjoyed our chatter, and obviously send us your tweets, your questions, comments, and we're all gonna have this up as a video on the channels after the fact, so you can watch it back and
enjoy the
listen
banter
along while you're plundering.
Indeed. Thank you
All
so
right.
much. to everyone who showed up, and it was really fantastic to be able to talk to you guys. But
thanks everyone. Thank you everyone. Cheers.
Happy
Thanks for
plundering.
tuning in.
All right.
Cool. Okay, that was nice.
Yeah. And are you offline on OBS?
I'll end stream here as well. Okay, there we go.
There you go.
There we go. I was just about to launch into some hideous
Booty.
booty things now.
Booty you're about to plunder.
We are all offline, right? Definitely. Nick, are you still there out of interest, mate? Nicholas? I think Nicholas might have just fallen asleep.
Anyway, we were that boring.
Yeah, he was just like,
my stream
I was
still
muted in
says it's
Discord. There we
my
go.
stream still says it's live, just as an FYI.
okay, how do we not be live?
Go to OBS and hit stop stream.